So, ladies and gentlemen, this morning on Sports File, I'm going to talk about something that's not surprising to any fan of the NHL or Toronto Maple Leafs or Canadian hockey. We just went through another massive defeat for the team many call the Laughs, the team many call the Toronto Chokers. The Toronto Maple Leafs spent the last 2.5 seasons rebuilding their franchise, working through the draft, getting head coach Mike Babcock, using Austin Matthews in these good rookie and sophomore seasons, signing John Tavares. They've never got past the first round in 15 years. A lot of people felt last year was a fluke. They didn't get past the first round, but Boston was tough on them. But here we are in 2019 with all the team they built up and all the momentum they had. They still lose in the first round. They had every opportunity to win this series. They had every opportunity to outplay Boston. But because the squad, and a lot of Leafs fans can back me up, the second half of the season was unfocused. They lost games you shouldn't have lost. They weren't winning on the road. There was injuries. There was misplaced decisions on the third and fourth line. As it stands right now, unless something drastic happens, Mike Babcock might not be back. We already know that Lou Lamoriello is gone. See, the Boston Bruins are like the old Montreal Canadiens of the 80s and 90s. Sure, they wouldn't make it to the Stanley Cup final, but you had to play Montreal at your best to beat them. Boston won the series because they outworked Toronto. They had better goaltending. No matter what people say about Anderson, Anderson to me is just a Brian Hayward. He's just a good backup. Kadri getting kicked out didn't help. Austin Matthews again had a good series, but the players that needed to play for Toronto weren't there. They didn't really seem to be focused. They had, like I said, after they won game 1, they won game 3 and they won game 5. They had every opportunity to basically put Boston away, and they failed. Failure. Unless they find a way to exercise the demons of how they treated Davey Keon and Peter Mahovlich, they will never win another NHL playoff series ever. But you put let's say the Vegas Golden Knights jerseys on the current Toronto team, they could make it all the way to the final. But Toronto is cursed. The fans are too loyal to this team. Celebrating Toronto Maple Leafs is celebrating mediocrity. You've never had a consistent team, maybe since Sittler and McDonald has been there. You found a way to lose. The Gilmore blurb was just that, lasted a couple of seasons. But my God, you compare that with the other original 6 franchises. They've had Stanley Cup runs over the last number of years, some successful, some not. The Toronto Maple Leafs, again, we're going to be 53 years since you won a cup. You were lucky that Davey Keon held back Jean Beliveau in 67 because you go to 1-0. What does the franchise have to do to get out of this? First of all, in my view, they need a good fourth line center. Need a couple of marquee offensive defensemen like P.K. Subban, Shea Weber, players like that, and you need a true number 1 goalie, be it Luongo, be it Jake Allen, whatever. Anderson is a good backup. He can play 35 games, but he's not a number 1 goalie. When I see Anderson in net, again, it reminds me when Patrick Roy was injured. They had Brian Hayward. He could do it for 1 or 2 games. For a 7-game series, you got to have all circuits working. And I don't care if people disagree with me or not. Your franchise is not in the NHL. You're like an AHL team, sometimes the NHL. You have an AHL mentality that you accept a good regular season and say, well, we don't do anything in the playoffs. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, your team could be $1 billion franchise, but you're continuously, at least the Raptors win every once in a while. Anyway, so to all the good Toronto Maple Leaf fans and my old cousin Kevin Mullally, who passed away from cancer a few years ago, I'm glad he's not alive to see it, because he would have been so excited about, the great regular season of the last 2 years, but to see how they performed in the playoffs is just a disgrace. So what needs to be done? Maybe a new head coach, maybe recruit somebody from college, recruit somebody within the system. It's too bad he didn't reach out to Steve Yzerman, but Detroit got him after he left Tampa Bay. But Babcock, you look at the figures right now, he's not got past the second round for nearly a decade. So something's going on. He may coach well with Team Canada. I don't know. Maybe make a trade for Sidney Crosby. Who knows? Give up Austin Matthews to Sidney Crosby. You need something. Anyway, so in this rainy, again, flooding New Brunswick, my condolences to all the true Toronto Maple Leaf fans. I would much rather do a podcast than you guys winning, but unfortunately, you never win. It's 36 years I'm a sports reporter, and in those 36 years, I've seen every possible way Toronto either didn't make the playoffs or lost in the playoffs. Redundant. And as we like to say the mantra with Maharishi Yogi, I told you so. I told you so. Have a good day. Bye.